Okay, so we're back again at another week, right? So we're on episode 3 now with Aiva Arquette, the man, the myth, legend himself, sitting in the flesh. So we got a fun one today. This is a pretty big one for even especially for me. I mean, for everyone else watching, tuning into. This is definitely gonna be a really, really good one to kind of listen and watch in. So, without further ado, I'll let the man himself introduce himself.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. My name is Aiva Arquette. Born and raised in Kailua. Went to St. Louis High School and went to Washington my first 2 years. Transferred to Oregon State, and now I'm a professional baseball player for the Marlins. Yeah,
Nice, nice. Then just to be clear, right? The sport is
baseball.
hell yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so today I want to try and do something a little bit different. Um, just the way kind of like set the tone for like a little bit more of a casual, fun way to do like the pod with our guests and stuff like that. So I had this fun icebreaker question. So the question is, what is your guilty pleasure song or artist?
Yeah, I was thinking about this the whole morning. So I would say my first one is "Hard Times" by Paramore.
Okay.
Yeah, I listened to that song a bunch this spring, but there's this one where that my girlfriend said and told me not to say it, but it's kind of a Swiftie song, Taylor Swift song.
Oh yeah.
I'm like Fate Ophelia.
Wait, really?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah,
Whoa, look at you,
yeah. I
man.
mean, that's it though. That's it. Like I'll cut off from there, but
Wow, oh dude, that's actually a pleasant surprise. Wow.
yeah. And
Okay,
then
wait. Is your girlfriend a Swiftie? That's why.
she likes all that, music, that type of music. But I watch a lot of Instagram reels, so that song is on Instagram a lot. So it's
Wow.
catchy. It's catchy.
Nice, nice. Hey, bro, no judgment. Hey, I like that though. That I love that. I love that you said that. That's freaking amazing. Okay, so like for me, if you guys know me, like a lot of my athletes know, a lot of my friends know this. So like my guilty pleasure song is "Part in the USA" by Miley Cyrus. Like that, it's in my playlist. I play it, and then people are just like, "Who's playing this song?" And I'm just like, "Pfft, I don't know, not me," but it is. Okay, so when we go into like this next part, right, we'll just go into what I ask everyone normally, which is the history, right? So, I know you didn't have much history with me per se, but you had a lot more history with Coach Tony, right? So, back when you guys were what, seventh grade, eighth grade? You guys are young
Around eighth grade, yeah.
because
I had to
it's
call Zach 10 this morning to confirm.
bro. Yeah, so it's you, Zach, Jaden,
Jaden, Cody,
Cody.
Antone, and Jonah Velasco, and all Zach's friends too. But I mean, yeah, eighth grade.
Tia. So that was like a while ago. All those guys getting a shout out right now.
Yeah.
Talk about your history of Coach Tony. Like, talk about how like the whole thing started and how your training, like doing the extra work with him, how that began, how that process began, and like how it kind of carried you and how you're starting back up again before your rookie season.
Yeah, I think. Well, Zach, invited me out. Auntie Wendy invited me out to train with Coach Tony. Obviously, it was like because I trained with Kenny Patton the year before, and then it was something new with Coach Tony, and I've enjoyed it. And just technique stuff, and just kind of get faster. So and with all the showcases coming up, we're working on the 60-yard dash and everything, right? So just trying to get faster for that. I mean, Coach Tony made a really good impression on me, and I've enjoyed all the stuff we were working on. So I mean, we took kind of a long break, and then this off season, I've decided I need to get faster and stronger, and so I decided to text Coach Tony, and I hit him up, and he agreed to train me. So that's how we're back here.
Nice. Like how, like looking back on it, like looking at back at all those boys that you trained with, and like seeing how you guys are all still together and how you guys are all like kind of thriving, like at your guys' respective schools or clubs or whatever, whatnot. Like, how does that feel knowing that you guys all started together and like now you guys are all kind of like thriving together too?
No, it's cool. I mean, that whole group, we were so like minded, and just kind of achieving the same goals, playing baseball at a high level, at the collegiate level. So yeah, it's pretty neat to see.
And now you guys are doing the whole Sandlot thing together, right?
Yeah, no, yeah, that was fun. The sound that was cool. But yeah, just it kind of came full circle, with the friend group.
Can you explain how that thought process came about with all the boys together and like kind of decide like, hey man, let's give back to these kids.
Yeah, getting drafted, in the first round, I feel like I've inspired a lot of kids, and um, I decided to do a free keiki clinic. But I chose to choose, the people I grew up with. The coaches that helped me, they helped with the clinic as well. My St. Louis head coach. But you got Zach, Cody, Sean Yamaguchi, Nuku Contrades, Jaden Piper, all of them. Um, Great baseball minds, So what, just they're great people to ask to help, and luckily they said yes. So, but yeah, it was fun. It was a fun time. These kids, these kids were ballers too, so way ahead of our times. Yeah.
No, I love that because it's just you if you guys are around Coach Tony like a long time or like even Coach Harry, a lot of what they talk about is like staying rooted and stuff like that. It's like the fact that you got drafted so high, you could have gone anywhere and you could have picked anyone else to help you do
Yeah.
that thing, but you chose to go back to your roots and
Yeah.
pick your boys, pick your old coaches. Like, I freaking love that
Yeah.
that you guys chose to do that and you chose to do that together with those guys. That I feel like it means a lot more, especially for like the kids here in Hawaii, when they say like, oh wow, like this guy made it so big, but like how he's coming back home like, with the boys. Like
Sure.
it's definitely like a huge thing when guys like kind of catch that concept of just staying rooted and foundation, right?
Yeah. Gets
But
me grounded again.
yeah,
Just kind of takes me back to what it was, and just kind of enjoy it again. Because I mean, when I leave, I'll be gone for 9 months.
yeah,
So like you got to cherish these times in the off season. So, but yeah.
got you. So let's talk about your draft process. So I'm very curious about it, but I know a lot of people like tuning in, the guys that were asking questions, I know they're also like extremely curious about how that went for you, right? So if we were talking about your draft process, first things first, dude, you got drafted seventh overall, dude. Like, that's a big deal. Like I know you're gonna be super humble about it. You've always been that way, man. You stay true to your character, but it's like that's fine. You're not gonna hype yourself up. I will do it for you. You know what I mean? So it's like that's a huge thing, man. It's like how did that feel, like getting drafted so high?
I mean, just extremely grateful. I mean, extremely grateful, and just kind of super excited to just start my career. Start pursuing my career, and just getting the call. It was kind of a dream come true, but just a big weight lift off my shoulders. Because like this process is kind of it's a roller coaster. Because like you really don't know where you're gonna get drafted to. So, but yeah, it was a blessing.
What was your what was your favorite moment of that draft day?
Yeah, I think definitely just having my family, friends, and just people that were a part of my journey there with me, celebrating that day with me. So I think that was my favorite part for sure.
Because the like for the MLB, I'm not sure. Like it's like a little bit different. Like how like the NFL, like they have the actual like place where the guys will like walk up there and everything, right?
Yeah.
Is the draft process different for the MLB?
Well, they actually, they actually do invite you to. I think it was in Atlanta this year, but they do invite people to Atlanta to walk up on stage. But like, um, but I don't think anybody did it this year.
Mm.
I think they just canceled it. But I mean, obviously, I wanted to stay here. I wanted to stay home and get the call. But because I want all my people, all my family, to be there with me. So but yeah, so yeah.
Nice. Going back to that word rooted, this is what we're talking about. There's this that truly is who you are as a person, man. Like I feel like you've always been that way. Like you're just like super humble, super cool about stuff. Like you're not like very boastful about anything, but when I watch you compete though, you're a dog out there. You're like a completely different person, man, when you're playing. Um so like going off of that, like knowing that you got like that extra swag on you when you're playing, in the diamond, like how did it feel knowing that you were viewed so highly by, the teams and the owners and the coaches and the managers? Like, how did it feel knowing that you had such a high draft stock?
I mean, it felt good. I think just because all the hard work and kind of discipline, it all came to fruition, with that. But I think it doesn't really change the way I think. It doesn't really change the way I go about every single day. And 'cause like I said, I want to stay grounded to who I am, and just I'm a Hawaii boy, just pursuing my goal and my dream. So, but I mean, just I try to stay consistent, with my attitude and habits. So I think that's the main thing. It doesn't really change the way I am.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Do you do you model your style of play after anyone currently in the league?
Well, I think I've always liked Carlos Correa at shortstop. Just big shortstop, 6'4". And then now you see more and more taller shortstops play the position at the big league level. So, I mean, the more I see that, I mean, the more I think I can do that, right? So, I mean, yeah, I mean, just Carlos Correa, and then I've always felt like I had my own hitting, you know, stance, hitting, just swagger. So, yeah.
Nice. Okay. Um, so like if we dive a little bit deeper into like that whole like draft process and like where you're at right now, like
Hmm.
entering this rookie season with Miami, what do you feel like you like sacrificed to get to where you are?
Yeah, I think, you know, uh, this question, I was thinking about it, and I'm like, did I really sacrifice anything? Maybe I sacrificed, like, when I was younger, like, some ski trips with the family or, like, some birthday parties on the side, but, like, I would say, like, my parents sacrificed way more. Just because, like, for me, I just got to show up, play, and just do my thing. Keep working, just work hard, and it didn't feel like a sacrifice to me. It just because I loved doing it. So, but my parents sacrificed way more than me, and just all the traveling we did, for baseball and sports, and that's all we did was travel for sports. So, but yeah,
Sure, that's a beautiful perspective on that.
yeah,
I don't think that's not like a normal
hmm,
answer that a lot of people give. That like is the fact that I don't think I sacrificed.
yeah,
I think my parents sacrificed a
yeah,
lot more because that's true, right? Because
yeah,
I mean they're taking care of you. They're investing, supporting, right? They're trying to give you everything you need to get to a high level where
yeah.
you're at. So it's like so you would probably say that you credit a lot of where you're at today to them.
For sure, and my parents and my family and my support group, all my coaches, like, because like for me, like with my development, I trust in them, to kind of polish polish me in my craft. So yeah.
Nice. So like as I was saying, like with that answer that you just gave,
Mhm.
again, I thought that was a beautiful way to answer that. It's not a very common thing that I get from a lot of people is just because, you know, if I ask most people, right, about what they sacrifice, they'll say stuff like, oh man, I had to sacrifice a lot of time with my girlfriend or my boyfriend, or like I had to sacrifice a lot of parties, I had to sacrifice sleep, I had to sacrifice going out with friends and stuff like that, right? And so, in that case, I'm not saying it's wrong, right? But if we're talking about separate and different mindsets on, what the goal at hand is, right? Where you get someone like Iva, we're sitting over here and he's saying, I don't feel like I sacrificed anything. I feel like my parents sacrificed more. And then it gets to the point where, he's talking about he just loves doing what he's doing so much that it's not even really a sacrifice at that point. It's just he wants to be a part of that lifestyle. So, you know, let's deep dive a little bit more into that. Like talk about that mindset of just loving what you do and not
Hmm.
feeling like you're really sacrificing anything. Like talk about that and then talk about how you feel like it would separate you from most.
Yeah, I think just um, the fact that I am not sacrificing stuff, like I said, like, I'm sacrificing little things here and there, but for me, like, I love I love practicing. I love training. I love playing games. And I love the mental side of the game too. You know what I mean? It just all that stuff. And like me being a professional baseball player, it's my job now. Honestly, it's always been my job. And that's the way I thought about it. And um, I've always wanted to be the best baseball player possible. And so and from a young age, I've always wanted to be that too. So I think I did. You know, the sacrifices. There are no sacrifices, and just me going about every single day throughout high school, throughout college, and now. So in this off season, but yeah.
It's like having that mindset, like kind of it carry you for the most part through your baseball career. When you're playing, how did you know that you always had a competitive edge over someone else? Like, how did you know you were gonna win every single time?
Yeah, that's how my dad raised me. I think just at a young age, if we didn't win, it was gonna be a long car ride home. Um, but I mean, just I think what separated myself too was I think playing all the sports growing up, playing three sports: football, basketball, baseball, and because that kept me athletic, competitive, and the ability to move at a high level at my height, I think was huge, and just training all the little muscles, like the muscles that you use with other sports, not just baseball, but yeah, I think the three sports really helped me a lot, and but yeah, I think all those things helped me to be the baseball player I am now.
It's like but you didn't just play these sports. Like you're actually pretty damn decent at these sports too, right? Like, do you think you probably could have gotten an offer for basketball? You think?
I think, I mean, internally, I 100% believe so. Like, if I, really trained basketball, I think so. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's funny because I remember me and Coach Schilling would keep up with you in high school and be like, dang, like this kid's like, he's killing it in basketball, he's killing it in baseball, like he's playing football, like damn, bro, like this guy's all over the place. So like, if I went a little bit deeper into that, um, just kind of rolling into like another topic is just there's like a whole philosophy and ideology based upon athletic development, and then you have two sides of the coin where it's just play every sport, all the sports, and then focus on one, train for one, right?
yeah,
So last week when I had Alexis come in, for her, she talked about her her philosophy on focusing on one, and that's what helped create her to be like such a high level all state athlete
hmm
in volleyball. Is just she focused everything and poured all her eggs into that basket, right?
yeah,
So for you, it seems like you're having a little bit of a different approach. I know you did your training. I know that for a fact. But now, in terms of like the younger guys that are listening, because I know there's a lot of our athletes that are like, should we play all these sports? Should we focus on one? It's
hmm
like, if I know I'm good at one, should I just do that? Or should I still dabble in these other sports? So, like, for you and the way that you got brought up and where you're at right now,
hmm
like, how do you feel about picking one as compared to playing a bunch?
play all of them, play all of them, because these college coaches now they love multi-sport players. They do, and like my Washington team, my Oregon State team, like mostly everybody, played, different sports like basketball, football, like they all played multiple sports. So, but yeah, I think if you can play all the sports, then do it. But I would say for me, like growing up, like I was definitely so playing football and then basketball and into baseball, like so like after basketball season, I would show up late for baseball season, but I would say I was behind the eight ball kind of every single year because I wasn't caught up in the my body wasn't in tune with the baseball habits, you know what I mean? So um, it took me a while to get kind of hot at the plate, and but I mean I wouldn't change it for the thing though, So but yeah, that was the only thing though. But I've enjoyed. I wouldn't change a thing in my childhood.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good. All right. So one of the other questions that I love to ask, just because, again, I'm gonna say this almost every single
hmm
time we're on camera doing this thing. My young guys, I do not think you guys understand the amount of work that goes into being a student athlete at a collegiate and professional level. I mean, there's a lot of talk, but are you guys willing to like walk your talk at the same time? So that being said, can you walk us through like what your schedule looked like when you're at Oregon State?
Yeah. Um, long days. Like, so in the fall, um, there's this. Well, first we had 6 a.m. weights. Like 6 a.m. weights. We had mandatory breakfast, and if you didn't go to breakfast, and coach found out, then like our coach was really big into like like cost, right? And if you missed a meal, it's $10. $10 go to waste, and you miss a meal, you got to pull weeds in the outfield, like for 20 minutes. So, but yeah, like little stuff like that. 6 a.m. weights, mandatory, breakfast, um, and then I we had online classes by the way too. So that was one of the perks of Oregon State because most of our team had online classes, and I don't know, I should be saying this, but we got to do some early work, you know. But like early work like from 10 to 11, and then lunch, and then practice from like 2 to 6, and then dinner and repeat. But yeah, I mean, it was definitely a grind. Oregon State, because like it was our coach was really big into life lessons too, and it was more of like being a good person. If you're a good person, then I think everything else will follow. With like being a good teammate and all that stuff. But like the schedule was like I would say like it was a strict schedule. But yeah, I mean, kind of,
Did you feel like did you feel like what you did in high school like helped prepare you for that type of schedule and that type of strict hours?
well, I think out of high school, I went to Washington, and Washington, was kind of little different than Oregon State, as far as like we probably had 6 a.m. weights like once a week, but at Oregon State it was like 4 times a week, and I think at Oregon State though we had this whole. I was not a part of it. I was actually a part of it for 2 days. I had surgery on my wrist, so I was not a part of it. But um, it was called Champions Week, and it was 5 days. Wait, like 5 a.m. weights, and then um, practice in the morning, or weights, breakfast, practice, lunch, practice again, and and then like a team bonding activity. That was every single day, and like when I showed up there, all my teammates were like razzing me because like you were a part of it. But like I had to get this fixed up, but yeah, like that week was actually kind of nuts. I'm like, oh my god, this is crazy. But
Bro,
that's exactly why they're good though. That's exactly why Beaver baseball is the way they are now, is because they train so damn hard, and they care. So
like I'm listening to you like talk about it, and I'm just I'm thinking back on when I was playing at UH, 2016 to 2018. Those 5 6 a.m. lifts, bro. Right? How hard was it for you to like wake up? Not only just wake up, but wake up in time, right? Get ready and be like locked in for weights.
no, it was it was good because we had our house music, right, at like 5:30 a.m. So we were I think everybody loved it just because like it was time for us to get to work. But definitely waking up. I mean, they shouldn't. The young kids shouldn't do this. But like for 6 a.m. weights, I probably woke up at 5:30. We had to get there at 5:50, so I got there at like 5:45, and like just roll out of bed. But I mean, I had to. I had to get my sleep. But but yeah, it was fun though. It was fun times. Like those are the times I'm gonna remember for the rest of my life. So yeah.
No, for sure. It's funny you say you don't know if the younger guys should do that, but at the same time too, like I'll be honest, like when we had those freaking 5:30 and 6 a.m. lifts, dude, like I'd probably do the same thing. Like I'd probably get up with just enough time. Like um, I don't know if this is like TMI or like what I'm about to say right here, but like what I would do is I would wake up like maybe like if I had a 6 a.m. lift, I'd wake up at around like maybe like 5:20 for like a 20-minute commute to
Oh,
UH,
yeah, yeah.
and I actually had like my toothbrush and my
Oh,
mouthwash over there in my locker,
oh, yeah, yeah,
so I wouldn't wash up at all,
yeah,
bro.
yeah,
Like I'd wake up, I'll drive there, then I'll do it there
yeah,
instead, because like dude, I'll be honest, I'm someone that had a very hard time
yeah,
like waking up early, you know what
yeah,
I mean?
yeah.
But it's like I have to find a way to like make it work, right? So it's like this is a good conversation to have because I know a lot of you guys can't even wake up for freaking 9 a.m. Bible study, all right? So you guys like if you guys want to do this whole thing and you guys are trying to like play at like a higher level, like bro, 6 a.m. lift, it's probably gonna happen at least once or twice in collegiate standards. It's gonna happen. You guys can't run away from it. But oh man, that's actually that's funny, dude. But
No, there's this one time where, um, okay, so our weight room, so in our baseball facility, we just got a brand new weight room, so like 4 racks, like down there, kind of right, and then just a little one in our baseball cage, or in our new cages. But before that, we had to like the weight room for every sport was like on the other side of campus. So like we couldn't go to our locker. We had to like
oh,
bring our weight clothes at home. We had to be dressed already and just go straight into weightlifting. So that was kind of different for me because like I usually change the locker, shower.
mhm.
So, but I don't want to shower at home, like. But there's a couple of times where I did a cold shower before,
Mm.
and it was 30 degrees in Corvallis. So like I had a hard time warming up, but there's this other time where I rolled out of bed at 5:45, and it was like a 6:15 lift. We had to be there at 6 o'clock. I rolled in at 5:59. And no, if you're late to lift though, like you can't practice that day. Like it was kind of a strict thing, but I'm like, oh my god.
Dude.
Like, but
Yeah,
that was like the only time in my collegiate career that I was like almost late to something.
ever.
Ever, because I was always like on time for stuff. I've always cared about it. But,
Uh, it's funny because everything's like so strict, right?
hmm
When you're getting to that level, like at high level play, everything's strict. There's rules, there's policies, right? So that's why like when me and Coach Tony like run the business and stuff like that, these guys they have like a pretty strict policy about like the timing,
yeah.
communication, their uniform and stuff like that. Um, and it's funny because I tell this story a lot to a lot of my athletes. So when I was playing at UH, we had a lift. I was late. I was late by maybe like 2 minutes, dude. And it was at the point where I'm not the type of person to argue with my coaches. I was just like, dude, I'm just gonna face the music. It is what it is. Um, all my UH buddies, you guys know Coach Bubba. You guys remember him. But what he would do, so if we're ever late or if we're in the wrong uniform or if we had the wrong color socks on, um, this guy would do something called Aloha Friday. And this guy would dress in an Aloha shirt, right? And he would make us wake up. It would have to be at the turf field at 5 a.m. on Friday. And dude, it was like bear
Oh
crawling, it
my
was
gosh.
dick rolling, dude. Like it was just like, bro, it was just like the worst of the worst. And this guy would pull out like this lawn chair and he would sit out there. Like, I think it's like I'm kind of embarrassed of the fact that I even had to experience that because it's like, damn, dude, I was late for something, It's like take more pride in it.
Yeah, yeah,
But it's dude, you guys have no idea how nuts it gets. Like these coaches up in that next level, they
yeah.
will find very creative ways to punish you, bro. Like,
Yeah,
oh my gosh, the weed pulling for 20 minutes.
yeah,
I feel like that's not like it's not nearly as bad as like army crawling or bear crawling, but at the same time too, it's like I'm pulling weeds right now,
yeah.
dude, for 20
I
minutes.
know. Luckily, I was never a part of that. But like another punishment we had too was like we were like in practice, in middle of practice, we're doing team defenses, right? Like bunt defense, first and thirds, like, and like if we don't get it correctly, if we're not like, cause like he has us to like a high standard. He expects so much from us, which we're a good ball club, And but if we messed up, we would have to touch greatness. So touching greatness is, Pat Casey, longtime Oregon State
Mhm.
coach. So his jersey is in the right field
Mm.
corner of the fence. whenever we would mess up 2 times in a row, touch greatness, the whole team would run twice, 1, 2, and then do it again. So like one time I think we touched greatness like 5 times, one practice. Like
Damn.
just stuff like that though. But like it was so funny. But at the same time, like gosh, what are we doing? But
The punishments are what people remember the most sometimes, though. All right, so we're gonna get into a little bit more of the questions that people sent in. I didn't put all of them. There was a lot of questions that guys wanted to ask, which is great, but I couldn't put all of them in there. And you kind of covered some of them already, but this first one, do you have any favorite plays, or do you have a favorite play from your career?
yeah, I think this past year I made my favorite play was the spin cycle play.
Comebacker. This one ramps up the middle. Aiva Arquette, the spin, the pick. Wow!
I shortstop in the College World Series. That's by far my favorite one. And then I made a similar one against Irvine on a Friday night.
Passing Francis Larson, whose last year was 2010. Arquette, nice play to his left, spins and throws on a couple of hops. Stretched by Craig, they got it.
It was like, yeah, in the middle of the season, but those two were like stuck out. And then another one, I made a Derek Jeter play in the whole, like the first home weekend we had this year. But yeah, and then obviously my Omaha homer.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Those four, I think. Playing the College World Series was so sick. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, talk about that. Talk about playing in the World Series, man.
I mean, that's why I came to Oregon State. I mean, I knew in the recruiting process, I knew we were gonna have a good team, and they were kind of selling me on that. I'm like, I played against them for 2 straight years, and Travis Bazana, the first overall pick, last draft. We played against him when I was at Washington. This guy hit 4 homers, and we played at Oregon State. I'm like, oh, we got smashed, but this place is so sick to play at. And but yeah, like I've always, like subconsciously, I think I've always wanted to be a Beaver. So, but yeah, just great coaches, great, just great everything, over there, rich tradition. But yeah, so I knew we were gonna have a good team, and our pitching staff was young, and if they could, handle the pressure, handle the situations, we were gonna be nasty. So and they did, and to overcome a loss in a regional, the first game, and to overcome that, to win out in that regional and beat a good Florida State team to go to Omaha was like the craziest ride I've ever been on in my life. Like, cause like it's double elimination in the regional. We lost to St. Mary's. And I'm like, oh my God. And then funny story, our coach, we lost the first game. The next day we showed up to the locker room. And what's the movie? Is it called The 300? The Greek movie?
Yes.
Yeah. So he showed a clip of The 300 in our locker room. And like, it just, a motivational thing. Like, I think it was the clip where like, these, the Greek people, they like put up their shields where all the arrows come in, right? He showed us that, and they just they kept marching to the enemy. But like that clip, I think just made everybody have chicken skin, and then we just went completely nuts in the regional. Like we just homer after homer, runs after runs, like plays after plays. It was so fun, and then like the Florida State series was I think even crazier just because like the first game we were down by 3, I think 3. With 2 outs remaining, we tie it up in the bottom of the 9th inning, and I lead off for the double, and then we walk it off. I'm like, holy crap! That's a good Florida State team too. Like we could have been replaced with them for the 8th seed. So like we were just interchangeable. But yeah, and then we won that series. We went to Game 3. Like, oh my God! And then just I remember, walking across the whole Goss Stadium, everybody's chanting Beavers. I'm like, oh, this is why I came here. Like Beaver Nation is probably the best. So, and then Omaha was unreal. Just just all eyes on you.
Yeah.
In a big stadium, and just dream come true. So yeah.
Nice. I like that. I like that. You're immersing me in the experience right now, man. Like how big of a role do you feel like the coaches and the staff and like the administration, how big of a role do you feel like they played in terms of like you being playing at your highest that you possibly can?
They played a really important role, just because they cared so much about their players, right? And they stay late with you if you need extra work. They get in early with you, so they want you to be at your best every single day, and they want you to play at your potential, and that's what they brought out of me. Because I knew I was gonna compete and all that, but there's things I had to work on, and then they brought it out of me. So credit to them. Just great coaches. It was a family over there, and that was one of the things I was looking for in my next school for my last year. So yeah, I mean, Oregon State checked all the boxes. So
Nice.
Yeah.
So one of the other questions I got sent in says, what did you do to get recruited?
yeah, I think so. I had like three recruiting processes, but my first one was actually probably the hardest one, just because it was COVID, and we couldn't travel anywhere. We couldn't play in the mainland, so everything was based off video and film. And luckily for me, I had great, I had my coaches here that were well connected to college coaches out there, so that really helped me. But I would say I started with like me and my mom helped me email 100 coaches, probably every West Coast school, West Coast D1 school, and like we we emailed it, and and people, some coaches didn't reply. Actually, most of them didn't reply, but these schools replied, like Santa Barbara, Cal Poly. So but yeah, I Teddy Walker at the time recruited me at Cal Poly, was good friends with Paul Ayotte, yeah. So he kind of helped me with that, because I think it was also dead period too at that time. So we couldn't really go on a visit or anything. So he watched Coach Larry Lee, head coach at Cal Poly now. They watched a video on me, and they offered me over FaceTime, and I decided to go to Cal Poly, and then when things started to open back up again, for me, I've always wanted to play in the Pac-12. It was always a dream of mine. So like just seeing all the UCLA's, Oregon's, Oregon State's, right, Washington. Like I've always wanted to be in that conference, and like nothing against Cal Poly, you know what I mean? Like that was, I knew that was gonna work out if I ended up being there. Like, but I've always wanted to play in the Pac-12, so I did. I played in the area code games, hundred MLB scouts, hundreds of college coaches in the stand. Like I'm like, oh my god, this is the first time I'm actually playing against good competition. Like first time saying 93 miles per hour. This is my junior summer, and I'm nervous, and I do well that tournament actually, and my family and I talk it over. Like I think I want to decommit, so I decommitted, and ended up going to Washington with a coaching staff that recruited me, and Lindsey Meggs and whatnot. Lindsey Meggs actually coached here at Hawaii the last couple of years, but they got let go, and then so this new Washington coaching staff came in. I was still committed, so they called me, and they're like, we still want you, and I'm like, okay, let's do it. So I stuck with Washington, and it was probably those 2 years, so much development in my game, and just kind of shape my foundation as a player I am now, and then obviously head coach at Washington left and had to enter the portal and chose Oregon State. But I mean, there's like 3 different processes, and yeah, and each one of them was like different. So yeah.
So like in your initial recruiting process, right? Just you putting yourself out there trying to email all these coaches.
Yeah.
So when you say you guys emailed 100 schools, are you saying that to exaggerate? Or are you saying
No,
quite literally?
I'm serious. Every West Coast D1 school I've emailed, and it was like it wasn't just a same email to every coach. Like it was actually written, well written, and it was different for every single one of them. But yeah, I was just trying to expose myself, and I would say it worked.
Yeah.
Thanks to my mom.
Yeah.
Helped me.
No, yeah, it's just I think a lot of like the guys that we're trying to help get recruited, I think a lot of them are like afraid of the rejection, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But like at the same time too, what people don't know is they don't know, right? So it's
Yeah,
like if
yeah.
you're not reaching out, if you're not trying to talk to these guys, if you're not trying to expose yourself, and if you're not willing to make yourself vulnerable for that possible rejection,
Yeah.
then it's just like you're not really helping yourself, right? So,
Yeah.
I mean, for the guys that asked 100 different questions about how Aiva got himself recruited and stuff like that, I mean, if we just take that as simple as what he just did, where they just emailed 100 different schools,
Yeah.
right? He's putting in the effort. He also said that it wasn't the same email. It was a personalized email. It was specific to each school, right? So it's you're showing some type of interest in each
Yeah.
school that you're reaching out to. But I mean, he just said that most of the schools didn't reply. But imagine all those schools that didn't reply, all of them missed out on one of the best baseball players in the country right now, right? So it's like the rejection that you guys might experience in your guys' recruiting process is not indicative of the type of person and type of athlete you guys are going to end up being. Because again, the proof is in the pudding. Like it's sitting right next to me. So you guys have to be willing to put yourselves out there. You guys have to be willing to expose yourselves, right? You guys have to be willing to face the rejection if it comes, right? And so like along with the emails that you guys sent out, how important was the film?
So important because like with the emails you attach some video, and maybe like if you're playing in a tournament in like within the next couple of weeks, like you put your schedule in there, maybe like they'll be there when you're there, and then you have a good game, and one thing leads to another, but yeah, just little things like that, like if you're a baseball player, like some hand drills, like Twitter's big. Twitter's huge, and that's where I got all my followers at, but going back to rejection though, like Oregon State was one of the schools that didn't reply, so like, but I didn't hold a grudge or anything, but I mean, but yeah, it worked out, but just yeah, but yeah, it was funny.
It worked out in your favor. And then, it worked out perfectly actually for you. Yeah, so we talked about the emails, talked about the film. Oh, that's the thing. So the camps. So I know that you said during COVID time you guys couldn't travel.
Yeah, yeah.
But then when it got to the point where you guys could travel and then do all that jazz, right? What would you say about like going to one of these camps where these guys are recruiting you, or like just college scouts are there? What would your advice be to someone that if they're not physically ready to compete at a high level, would you advise them to go?
Like, what kind of camps are we talking about? Like school camps, or like just like baseball camps in general?
School camp.
Okay, so like, I mean, I've never done one, honestly, but I was lucky enough to do all these tournaments, because I didn't really need to. But I mean, if a school is interested, then, and they say they want you to go to a camp to see and to kind of scout you more, like, I mean, I wouldn't say no to it, I mean, if you're physically unready, then, I mean, get ready. I mean, I don't know. I mean, no, just because, like, in high school, I wasn't physically, I think, ready, for college yet, because, like, I was, like, 180, now I'm 220, because, like, there's growth. There's growth to be made in every single player, so, when I got to my freshman year of college, that's where the weight started to come in and the muscle started to grow. So it's like you don't have to be ready now, but start getting ready, I guess, and yeah.
So you feel like it'd be worth the risk?
Yeah, I think if a coach is showing really good interest, then I would say so. But if you don't want to, then you don't. It's not a make or break thing. I would
Yeah.
say. So yeah.
All right. So one of the last questions that I picked for you was actually one of my favorite questions. So shout out to the guy that put out this question because it's a really good one. I was going to ask it if no one else asked it. So at what point in your career did you realize, holy crap, I can play in the big leagues?
Um. Well, I'm not there yet, but I mean, so I think at a young age, it's always been a dream. It's always been a goal, and all this training I'm doing, all this training I was doing, like it's all to lead up for that moment, and for those big league moments. But just getting drafted, it's so obtainable now. I can almost reach it, but I have to stay grounded, and just keep continuing this work in the off season, and because this off season is really big for me, and if I just stay consistent with it and stay consistent with my training, my eating habits, my recovery, I think, if I just stay true to every single day and my process, I think it can be reachable, no problem. So yeah,
Nice.
I think, but yeah, it's always been a goal.
When you guys had your rookie mini camp, right, recently?
Like yeah, our draft class camp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you experienced that, um, did you feel like, oh my gosh, like, dude, this is crazy. Like, this is like a way different ball game than what I'm used to. Or did you feel like, you know what, nah, like I'm prepared for this. I'm ready for this.
No, I was prepared. I think just being well coached in every level I've been at prepared me for that. For this moment. And seeing all the Latins. Yeah, training with all the Latins. It was different experience. Because they all love to dance. And I don't. But no, but they're all smooth. And smooth swinging, smooth fielding, and but because it's all they kind of know
Hmm.
is baseball, right? And it's different for us because we have school and they just go straight into they sign at 16 years old and their career starts already. So, but yeah, I think I was well prepared and just going kind of head to head with them. Just it was fun. Yeah.
How did it feel like walking into those facilities for the first time and like experiencing everything, meeting the manager, meeting the coaches? Like, how was that experience?
Yeah. So like going in, signing my contract, meeting the manager, all that stuff. Like manager's really cool, good guy, just baseball guy, players coach, right? And in that camp we did, they're all there too. So the big league hitting coach is feeding us at the machine and kind of giving us tips and whatnot. But the managers, watching me take ground balls, which is kind of sick. But like, for me, like it's so reachable. Like I said, I just continue to work hard. Yeah.
What is your what is your goal going into your rookie season?
Um, I think so. I'd go for the off season. I things to get better on. Obviously, like faster, stronger, um, and just kind of changes to my swing. But I mean, I wanna be my goal is to show up every single day, um, and if I'm not feeling 100%, but be there 100%. Just like because it's a long season,
Hmm.
and this past 6 weeks I was in high A. There's a week where I'm like, okay, this is kind of reality kind of set in, and I'm like, okay, long days, long weeks, but this is my job. So but kind of define this little switch in my head where every game matters because
Hmm.
it matters, but like at the same time it doesn't matter like a college game.
Yeah.
College games way more about winning and stuff, but kind of just to find that switch where I can compete every second, every pitch,
Hmm.
and that's the goal. Yeah,
Nice.
and if I do that, then I think anything's possible of where I can go. So
Perfect.
yeah.
So that's like pretty much it for like all the questions and whatnot.
Yeah.
And again, I'll probably say it again before like the camera like stops rolling, but I'm really thankful, bro, that you like took the time to do this, right? Because um, like I said, even for me, like even though I've known you for a long time, I think the one thing that helps, right, is Coach Tony and I. Oh, we respect you for sure as like one of the best athletes right now in the country, maybe even in the world of baseball, right? But it's one of those things where it's just like, hey man, like, we know Iva's playing that level, but if we're trying to get him where he needs to be to play at a high level, like we got to make sure that we're not putting him so high on that pedestal. We got to remember that it's still Iva.
Yeah.
Like it's still Iva that we met when he was in 8th grade. Like that's still our boy. Like we still got to take care of him. We still got to give him what he needs, right? So it's like, it's still like freaking like super cool. Like, for me to be able to talk to you like this and like sit down, like kind of share your experience. Cause I'm learning stuff about you too. Cause like I said, like I didn't have much of a relationship with you when you're growing up. Coach Tony did. Right. So it's like, I'm getting a little bit of that taste as well. So yeah, I'm very thankful that, you're doing this and whatnot. So, as we're like closing up, I'm gonna kind of give you like an opportunity for you to like kind of talk about what you want to talk about or shout anyone. Like so, like for like this first thing, like if you had anyone that you want to shout out, like if you want to like thank anyone that you want to give props to, like to where you're at right now, like you're more than welcome to do so.
Well, there's too many people to thank, but I'll just go. My parents. Thank you to my parents, my sister, my family. Because they've always been there, in anything in through the beginning. Yeah, thanks to them, my coaches, all my childhood coaches to my college coaches, to my professional coaches, and they've all had a significant part of my life, and I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it without them. So yeah, they had a big part of my development. So and then I mean, I'm grateful, to have Fastletics that trained me this off season, and because I knew what I had to work on, and I knew this team would make me better. So that's why I gave Coach Tony a text. So but yeah, just thankful it's all working out. So yeah.
Nice. And on top of that too, I mean you've been doing a lot of work with Marcus throughout your career as well, right? So it's like, and I know you guys you were doing what 5 a.m.s with him, right? Or
yeah, I was going 6:30, sometimes 7, but now that I'm kind of sprinting now, I go later in the day now, but kind of get good recovery in, because honestly, if I lift in the mornings, I sprint after. I'm not getting as much out of sprinting as I want to. So I found out that if I sprint before, then lift after, then it's a much better day for me.
good stack.
Yeah.
Nice. So now just like entering like the final thoughts and whatnot. So, is there anything that you wanted to ask or anything that you want to like bring up and talk about?
I mean, about anything specific?
Anything. It could be anything.
I mean, not really, no.
Yeah, no, if you don't, it's fine.
Yeah.
I just try to give you the opportunity to like bring up whatever you want to bring up.
No, I think I'm good.
All right, perfect.
Yeah.
So that being said, what are some pieces of advice that you'd want to share with the younger guys right now? And you can target it towards specifically baseball, softball guys, or you can just target them as a whole.
No, I'll go whole. I think I'll start with cliche, but keep chasing your dreams. Keep chasing your dreams, because you can achieve anything in this world. But to keep chasing your dreams, you gotta stay disciplined, and I think that was a big part of my journey, is discipline. And because I've always went to bed at a reasonable time. I've always got my sleep. I've always got my recovery, and my eating habits are pretty good. And but yeah, staying disciplined is probably the most important thing, and having a good routine. Staying disciplined to your routine is probably the one thing I would say is one piece of advice for them. Yeah. So find a good routine, stick with it, and yeah. So find what works for you, and listen to your parents.
That's a good one. Listen to your guys' freaking parents. That's a good one. Listen to your guys' coaches too.
And coaches.
But other than that, are you good?
We're good. Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Okay, so that was a fun one. I'm glad that we're able to do this. I'm glad that Ivo took the time out of his Sunday, to kind of give back. This is him giving back too, right? So he didn't have to do this, like he's giving back to Fastletics, he's giving back to me and Coach Tony, and then he's giving back to the community that's behind us right now, and all the younger guys that are watching this, especially the baseball, softball guys. Like, this is right up your guys' alley right now, and he's sharing his experience, he's sharing his knowledge, and that knowledge can become power. So all those guys that ask questions and all those guys that are looking up to where I was at right now, it has to be one of those things where when you guys watch this and listen, like, you guys are doing this intentionally. It's not one of those things where, like, oh yeah, this stud's sitting there, he's talking about all this jazz, and then you watch the video and then you're going back and you're sleeping at like 2 a.m. in the morning, right? There's got to be balance, and there's got to be intentionality behind what you guys are doing. So, I had fun on this one. I hope that whoever's watching this takes something away from it. This is quite literally the first professional athlete, that we're having sit down with us, even though he's still in his rookie season. He just got drafted. He's still fresh in the process. That does not take away from the fact that he is where he's at. He's still a pro athlete. He's still a high caliber athlete, and that doesn't change. So I really do hope that you guys take as much as you guys can out of this. But, other than that, I appreciate you, bro.
Thank you.
And we'll catch you guys on the next one.